you want more?
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
So, well, I love the new music. Actually, you're a new discovery for me. So I've actually picked up the High Voltage Blues, and now I'm working my way backwards. I just ordered your last two records. So love what you do, man.
Well, thank you, man. I'm honored. I'm honored that you're digging what we're doing.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got signed with Rat Pack, because they're making a big deal, and it is that they got their first blues artist on the roster.
Yeah, Joe O'Brien discovered us during lockdown. He was listening to Gary Moore on a streaming thing, and they said, "Hey, if you like Gary Moore, check out Anthony Gomes." He had never heard of us, and being a blues rock project, you've only been marketed to the blues. And his feeling was, well, it's blues rock. What if we market the rock side of it? So we're the first act they've ever approached outright and said, hey, let's do something. And I love what they do and bundles that they do for the fans. Yeah, man. So it's been a great experience thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I love Rat Pack as well, just because, like you said, the bundles and all that stuff that they do, it kind of goes through a throwback of when you used to get vinyl and all this stuff would fall out. I guess more along the lines of like Kiss. Kiss and Alice Cooper did like those extra bonus things that would slide out of the sleeve.
Yeah, it always made you feel like you were getting something more, and you got invested in the artist because you felt they were invested in you.
Right. So tell me a little bit about what got you started in the blues. Who introduced you to blues music?
I always loved the blues, even when I didn't realize I did. And all the rock things I was tended to gravitate towards. It's like Zeppelin or Deep Purple, Aerosmith, ZZ Top. They all had a blues influence. And then one day I said, man, I'm going to buy a blues album. So I went downtown in Toronto, where I live, took 2 buses in the subway, and I got to this record store called Sam the Record. And I went to the 3rd floor, because that's where they kept all the blues. So you got to go to the 3rd floor. And I said, I'm going to get a B.B. King album. And I got one, $6.99, and it said B.B. King Live at the Reef. And then the sticker said, one of the greatest live albums of all time. So I thought, hey, this is a good place to start. So I put it on the CD player, and I immediately was knocked out. And I loved everything about B.B. King, and I loved everything about the blues. But not only that, Jimi Hendrix made sense to me all of a sudden. Like, oh man, And I tell people, like, loving apple pie, but you've never had an apple, and you're eating all this crust sugar, and it's good, but it's the apple. Fast forward today, and I'm embracing all those, King and John Lee Hooker and Buddy Guy, Wilson Pickett, Otis Redding, and then, Ronnie James Dio or CC Top or Van Halen, and put them in our big gumbo.
Right. Yeah, and there's some material that's on this record, that's from previous stuff, right? Yes. So how did you go about that process of selecting some songs, that you would then put in High Voltage Blues? Because I think it's pretty strategic how you did those.
I owe a lot of credit to Joe from Rat Pack, because he was a new fan. And there's nothing better than being a new fan. And he had done a deep dive on our discography. It's like, what about this song? What about that song? And his idea was, let's put some new music on, and then let's put on some songs to introduce people who don't know who you are or what you're using. But we decided not to make it a money grab. And, hey, we're just going to do these songs and put them on. We re-recorded them. We remixed them, mastered them. And we have Billy Sheehan and Ray Lucia play on 5 or 6 songs on the album. So it's definitely retooled, and I think the album sounds very cohesive because we recorded it, redid everything. It doesn't sound like some best ofs where the they're 20 years spanning of songs and recording budgets. So yeah.
Yeah. As far as the song selection, because it's bang for your buck kind of a thing. I mean, you loaded this thing up, and usually that could backfire. If you make something too lengthy, that always opens up the opportunity for filler and stuff like that. Tell me about how you went about that process, because that could be hit or miss.
Well, yeah, our goal was we didn't want it to suck. We didn't want it to be bad. So,
right.
I and if we were losing interest at any point, then surely a listener would, like, and we didn't want any filler. We just wanted it to all killer, no filler, as they say, right? So
Right.
we worked very hard, even with existing songs, to do new arrangements to make them compelling. And we just did the best that we possibly could, and worked the hardest we could with the hopes that we would deliver a quality product to new fans and existing fans.
Right. I got to ask you about a few of these tunes, because again, it's there's so much good stuff on on this record. But Painted Horses, tell me about that one, because it could almost be a country tune. I mean, it's got that kind of twangy part to it that I could almost see that getting retooled, reworked, rearranged into like a modern country tune.
Hey, Blake Shelton, if you're listening, you can.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, right.
Look, the idea of that song was it references Jimi Hendrix, Albert Collins, John Lee Hooker, and Johnny Cash. And what I noticed is when you listen to Hendrix or John Lee Hooker or Hank Williams Jr., there's some universal aspects of music that all those genres have. Like, you'll hear Hank Williams Jr. and he'll go, bow now, bow now. Muddy Waters will do that. Jimi Hendrix does that. A lot of people say that, Buddy Guy says that Voodoo Child is really a Muddy Waters groove, turbocharged. So Painted Horse to me is the idea that you're not a purebred. Like, for music to evolve, there's people that get stuck on pure blues or pure rock. Man, all music is a gumbo, and so I was thinking that instead of being caught up in labels, we were just going to embrace all the music that we love. And you're sort of rolling into town, man, with a posse. You got Johnny Cash and Hendrix,
right.
and there's that line, feel the power of my soul sonic force. I ride into town on my painted horse. And that's really what that means. The painted horse symbolizes the integration and the unity of all musical styles. Furthermore, it really means about humanity. We're all brothers and sisters, and we often get caught up in what makes us different, but really universally we're pretty much the same. So celebrate the difference, embrace them, and get together with this unity thing, man.
Right. Yeah, and I did notice that you do have this kind of unity, kind of message, woven throughout some of these tunes and stuff. And we'll get to another one because it's one that's previously recorded, but it's one of my favorite tunes on this record. I'm glad I got a chance to get an advance of it, and then eventually I picked up the actual physical copy, through one of those bundles. But one of the songs that I think I really enjoy too is another one of the standouts is Fur Covered Handcuffs, which it has like this it's almost like an unreleased ZZ Top gem. I mean, it has that kind of vibe to it. Is that how initially it came out, or did it just kind of evolve in there? I know you referenced the gumbo and just kind of mixing in all the influences, but tell me about that tune, because it really does have this kind of Gibbons vibe to it.
Oh man, I'm a huge Billy Gibbons fan. I'm embarrassed to say that I love Billy Gibbons and I love ZZ Top. One of the many things I love about ZZ Top is that they can take an object, cheap sunglasses, and write a song about it. I mean, and something that's compelling. So I guess we were just joking around, guys in the band, and we were talking about fur covered handcuffs or being
Right.
dumb and silly. And to me, the idea of a handcuff, which is this, very dominant, powerful thing, but with this furry pink aspect to it, just seemed hilarious to me.
Right.
So an idea of a pink furry handcuff was funny.
Yeah.
And then, so it's like, well, how is this funny and how's this a story? And, the story is that there's a couple and the lady in the couple is trying to spice up the relationship, and her husband is, going along for the ride, but, he might be a little scared, So anyway, and it's a fun thing. And man, live, it just knocks people out. That's one of the new songs. And,
Right.
yeah, man, there's just something about that eighth note groove, man, on the bass guitar that just chugs
Right.
it along.
I was almost thinking I can almost envision you getting a pink fuzzy cover for the Flying V with a little strap that straps to your waist, and you can spin it like those ZZ Top fuzzy guitars.
Yeah, man. Hey, somebody build it, we'll take it, man. Yeah.
That would be cool. But yeah, I imagine that is one of those tunes that goes over brilliantly live. I mean, because it, like you said, the groove and just the fun message behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think in today's world, man, we need a little fun.
Mm-hmm.
We need and early on, Ruben, in my career, I was very adamant about this unity idea, and I thought, the highest purpose of an artist is to bring love and peace and make the world a better place. And you talk to Paul McCartney, and he's like, out of all the great things we've done, writing all you need is love is like the highest thing. So I got a little carried away with that, meaning that I kind of got serious, and I realized the best way to disarm people is through humor.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're laughing, that's when you hit them with something serious, like their guard is down. So it's almost like it's a combination. In boxing, they got a combination, So you knock them out with the peace and the love, but the uppercut might be the fun song, the fur covered handcuff.
Right.
Yeah, and we need to laugh, man.
Gosh,
we need to laugh. It's good medicine.
Yeah, and that leads into the next tune I was going to ask you about, Peace, Love, and Loud Guitars. I mean, what a killer tune. I mean, just overall, just the message, the chorus, the hooks on there. Tell me about that, because that's also a material from a previous album by that title, and obviously it was a brilliant move to recut that one and include this on High Voltage Blues, in my opinion.
Thank you. What the goal was with that song was to have an idea about peace and love, and it not be wimpy, not be, peace and love and the flowers. Right. And, it was like, man, peace, love, and loud guitars. Bam.
Right.
And a lot of times songs of peace are delivered in a very 60s flower power way, which I love. Mm-hmm. But we just wanted to do it, with 3 chords and a Marshall on 11, that was really the thinking about that. A message of peace and hope and unity again, but with a lot of sass attached to it.
Right. Nice. And that's probably another one of those tunes that goes over pretty brilliantly live, right?
Oh yeah, man.
It's got the sing-along chorus. I mean, you can hear it once and you kind of got it.
Yeah. And people always love screaming. There's something about going, hey, that I really love. So yeah, it's a cool thing.
What about I Believe? Again, that's another one of those tunes that I really gravitated towards. If you can give me a little bit of background on that one.
Yeah, I basically wanted to create a song that was very melodic in the chorus, but had a nasty groove, and juxtapose those two things.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to write poppy things in a blues rock context. So that was the challenge there. Melodic. even maybe the chorus might have started off as a ballad at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It was a song that was supposed to be on Peace, Love, and Loud Guitars, but it didn't make the album. We hadn't found it. While we were working on this one, I sort of had a couple of ideas, and I ran them by my manager and producer, Peter Carson, and we kicked some ideas around. And I really love how that song turned out for that reason of balancing those two sides.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned, the pop influence there, because it definitely has that to it. I mean, it almost has like this, and I don't know whether this is what you went for, and that's how it turned out, but it does have like that kind of Mutt Lange kind of chorus there, because it definitely picks things up. That melodic ingredient, I think, takes it to the next level.
Well, Mutt Lange is, I mean, one of the finest producers, and I would be lying if I said I haven't studied his work
Mm-hmm.
with great detail.
Right.
That's quite a compliment. So, it was. It's always risky when you're blues,
Mm-hmm.
because it can't get overly melodic, because then it turns into corporate rock or
Right.
you know. But if you can find that balance, and I really felt like that song, we achieved that, and it took a lot of work to get that.
Right.
To make it sound so nasty, it took a lot of work.
Yeah, nice. I mean, like I said, there's a little bit of everything in here for people. I think whether they have, they're blues fans, whether they're hard rock fans, or even just people that are casual, rock fans. I think, I think there's something in here for everybody. I think overall it's a brilliant collection of tunes that makes for a fantastic record.
Thank you so much.
I was going to ask you, because I know you brought this up. I mean, huge fan of Billy Sheehan. Obviously, we know his history with Tallis, Roth, and Winery Dogs. Wow, yeah, who can forget the Winery Dogs, right? With Kotzen and Portnoy and stuff. And then also Ray, who's I guess he's got his own history there at KXM, and then all the various other bands. Even Roth, I think he's worked with Roth too, David Lee Roth at one point. So they all have their history. But how did you connect with these guys? Because that's kind of an interesting choice for a rhythm section for some of these tunes.
Yeah, and that came from Joe at Rat Pack. I guess Ray's on KXM, also on Rat Pack, and
right.
Joe he came to me and he said, "What do you think of Billy Sheehan and Ray Luzier?" And right. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are my heroes, and I love these musicians, and respect them so much, and to have them even consider being on the album, let alone playing on it, let alone play. They started out with 2 songs, and they were really digging it, and we're like, hey, we have a few more if you want,
right?
And they've been so supportive, Ruben, with the release and sharing it on social media, and Ray even popped in on one of my interviews that I was doing, So
nice.
It's just been really, really cool. And we have a show or 2 with the Winery Dogs. They just announced their tour, so we're going to be doing a couple shows with them. So
nice.
That'll be exciting, Yeah. So I mean, basically, I'm just a music fan and a music nerd, and anybody that's watching, man, I'm one of you guys, man, and I'm
right.
just lucky enough that I play too. And somehow and somehow people like what we do. So very fortunate. But
nice.
Yeah, man, I'm that nerd that waits in line at 5:30 to get in early, get the best seat, or spends way too much money on vinyl at the record store. I'm that person. But I wouldn't want it any other way.
Right. So, wow, that's cool. So you got some gigs lined up with this Winery Dogs tour that's coming up in 23 then, huh?
Yeah. One confirmed, and there's a couple that may be looming, okay. And we'll see how that all works out. But yeah, wow. It'll be great.
Yeah, no kidding. That'll be a nice opportunity for you to get the word out about your work for anybody that may not know.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll be a new audience, and we're playing for rock folks now, and we just want to make the party bigger. We got our blues fans that like blues rock. Now,
Yeah.
let's just make the party bigger and have a good time together.
How do you feel about, doing something, go in the direction of, like, I'm sure you're probably familiar with Jared James Nichols, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he's latched on to some hard rock tours, and then all of a sudden his name starts popping up, at various other tours, where he's not intimidated to, latch onto a John Five tour, where it's more of the hard rock people, maybe more of the metal people. Is that something you're interested to as well?
sure. You
Doing
got a
that.
tour for us, Ruben? You got a tour, man?
No, I'm just saying that, yeah, that you could definitely, slot into some of those similar type of tours where it's like, the grooves and the fuzzy guitars would blend in well with those distorted metal riffs that some of these other bands are doing now.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan of all those rock acts too, and I think as an artist, you try to create something that interests you, and you hope that it interests other people.
Mhm.
I always noticed when I was growing up that, like, some of my friends that loved Zach Wilde and let's say Vivian Campbell or Steve Vai, they
Right.
also had a Stevie Ray Vaughan album.
Hmm.
You know, and he was sort of like their go-to blues person. And now that the lines in blues and rock are sort of blurring, you know, um, we'd love to be the person that say, somebody that might listen to Metallica say,
Hmm.
if they want something that's a little bit different or lighter, just to break up the mood. Hey, here we are.
Right.
Give us a shot, please. Come on.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you just try to make something that satisfies your artistry, and you do it with integrity, and you work the hardest you can, and you hope that people like it.
Yeah.
And whoever does, man, we are so honored that they would enjoy our music.
I was going to ask you this one because I did, make the comparison, like kind of like what you just did about, some of the Metallica fans maybe have like a Stevie Ray record in their collection and stuff. Would you consider yourself, in a sense, similar to Stevie Ray, and as far as like a gateway kind of artist, to the blues for maybe people that are looking from the outside in?
Um, well, I'm such a huge fan of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and such uh, a tremendous influence on me, and I have so much respect for him. Even trying to compare myself to him is such a I can't even think in those terms. I would be honored if our music would inspire a rock fan to dig deeper into the blues, because I think they would really dig that journey, and
Mhm.
I mean, you know, Ghost is a pretty heavy, I guess they have a sort of evil,
Right.
satanic influence. But I
Yeah.
tell you, man, Robert Johnson is pretty creepy.
Sure.
Robert Johnson is
Right.
pretty creepy. If you
Right.
listen to, some of those recordings, it's like, whoa, man.
Yeah.
So somebody might dig that journey, and
Right.
at the end of the day, it's all about the music.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I got like one more for you, and
Right.
this might have you digging deep, but
Oh
have you
no,
ever
okay.
have you ever been on stage and been intimidated by another guitarist? And if so, what was that experience like, and what'd you learn from it?
Well, I got to jam with BB King on his
Oh,
birthday at a small club, and it was intimidating. I was very nervous because it's my hero. Like, we toured with him several times and whatever, and talked, and I was very comfortable with him. But uh, uh, how can I put this? I so wanted to impress him
hmm.
and get his approval,
Hmm.
because it would mean so much to me. Um, and I tried my best. And he turned around and he looked at me and he gave me a little smile. And that's one of the greatest moments of my life. And but yeah, it was. I think, as a guitar player, you have to use your strengths and your advantages to your benefit. So there's some players that are much more technical than I am. There's some players that play more simply, and maybe you might say with more soul, or whatever. And you just got to be the best you that you can be, and hope to make an emotionally impacting moment with your guitar playing, and be the best you that you can be. Try to be the best Anthony Gomes impersonator.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I've been intimidated several times. It's like, whoa, they're really good. And
Right.
what goes on in your mind is like, oh God, I hope I don't suck. It would be horrible.
Right.
Or just, I don't want to look bad. I don't have to be awesome. I just don't want to look bad.
Right.
But yeah, with BB it was a little different. It was at another level. It was
Right.
somebody that I had such respect for, and such admiration and love that I wanted him to feel like, hey kid, that was okay. And yeah.
Nice.
That's digging pretty deep.
Yeah, that is. Hey, man, hey, thank you for your time. I hope to catch up with you again. I mean, best with the record. I know you got some stuff kind of in the works with Winery Dogs. I hope you get more dates. That would be awesome. And eventually, maybe I get the chance to see you out in the Northwest. So.
Yeah, man, we can't wait to get up to the Northwest. Great people and a great music scene and vibe, and legacy of music up there. So
right
on, Ruben.
Right.
Thank you so much for your time, brother.
Well, we do have the Waterfront Blues Festival in Portland, Oregon in July. So who knows? You might pop in there at some point here.
At the very start of my career in 2003, I played the Waterfront Blues Festival.
Oh, no way!
Yeah. So I guess we did so well they've asked us back. No, but I think I think it's time to come back, man.
I think so.
I love the Waterford Festival and that whole thing. So I look forward to seeing you, man.
Yeah, and thanks to Tina. We have to thank Tina
Yes.
for setting this up. That was awesome. So that's cool of her. And yeah, man. So we'll plug everything, plug the socials, plug the record, and we'll get you guys a link, and then we'll take it from there, huh?
Hey, our fans will love it. And again, Ruben, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, no problem.
And I appreciate my error. I apologize for my error earlier. My time is no more valuable than yours. And
well,
shit happens, and I messed up, and I'm truly sorry for that. But thank you for understanding.
Yeah, it was worth the wait, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Love you, brother. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Right. We'll see you. Bye.
Bye now.